I never thought a single argument could change everything. My husband and I had been together for years, and like any long-term relationship, we had our share of disagreements. But until that night, I had believed that we could navigate our conflicts with love, patience, and understanding. I thought we could handle the occasional harsh word, the occasional lapse in judgment, because beneath it all, there was trust, respect, and commitment. The fight started over something trivial, one of those arguments that seems insignificant at first, but escalates because of built-up tension. I can't even remember exactly what triggered it, just that emotions were high, voices were raised, and tempers flared. I was frustrated, he was frustrated, and the anger that had been simmering beneath the surface finally boiled over. And then I said it. Something I shouldn't have. Something cruel, pointed, and deeply personal. I made a comment about his manhood, an insult that struck at the core of his identity, something I knew could wound him in a way nothing else could. I didn't pause to think about the consequences. I was angry, and in that moment, I wanted him to feel the sting of my frustration. The second the words left my mouth, I regretted them. I saw it in his eyes immediately. The shock, the hurt, the disbelief. The fight didn't continue as it had before. It stopped. Silence fell over us, heavy and suffocating. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. My heart pounded as I realized I had crossed a line I couldn't take back. Words are powerful, I reminded myself, and I had just used them to cut deeper than I ever intended. He didn't yell. He didn't retaliate. He just left. That night, he walked out of our home, slamming the door behind him, leaving me alone with the echo of my own cruelty. I sat there, stunned and remorseful, replaying the argument, analyzing every word I had spoken, every choice I had made leading up to that moment. I knew I had hurt him profoundly, and the thought made my stomach churn. In the days that followed, I tried to reach out. I sent texts, made calls, went to where I thought he might be, desperate to apologize. I needed him to understand that it had been said in the heat of the moment, that it wasn't reflective of my feelings, that I didn't mean it. But he didn't respond. He didn't answer. I realized that some wounds, even those caused by words, aren't easily healed. Trust, once fractured, can take time, or may never return. As the hours stretched into days, I began to fear something deeper than temporary anger. I noticed subtle signs that suggested he might be seeing someone else, someone who could offer him the respect and understanding I had failed to provide in that heated moment. It was a possibility I didn't want to consider, but the thought haunted me, growing more insistent with each unanswered call. I started reflecting on our relationship, the good, the bad, the patterns I had ignored. I realized that our marriage hadn't been perfect, that there had been underlying issues I had overlooked, and that my words, though said in anger, had exposed deeper fractures. Anger, I learned, is a magnifying glass. It amplifies insecurities, fears, and weaknesses, and in our case, it had laid bare vulnerabilities I hadn't acknowledged. Eventually, I understood something painful but necessary. I had to take responsibility, not just for the words themselves, but for the environment, the communication patterns, and the unresolved tensions that had allowed a moment of anger to escalate into something irreversible. I had to confront my own role in the deterioration of trust, even as I hoped for reconciliation. Weeks passed. The silence was unbearable. Each day without him was a reminder of the power of words, the fragility of trust, and the consequences of letting anger dictate actions. I tried to imagine the hurt I had caused, the embarrassment, the shame he might have felt. I wished I could turn back time, but I couldn't. I could only hope to rebuild, to show through actions rather than words that I valued him, respected him, and regretted my moment of cruelty. Then, one evening, he returned, not with anger, not with accusations, but with a quiet presence that reminded me of the man I had married. He didn't immediately forgive, didn't immediately forget, but he was willing to talk, to confront the aftermath, and to explore whether trust could be rebuilt. That moment, fragile as it was, taught me that regret alone isn't enough. Apologies are meaningless without accountability, reflection, and consistent effort to change. In the months that followed, we began the painstaking process of rebuilding. It wasn't easy. Every conversation required honesty, every disagreement required restraint, and every touch of affection had to be intentional and deliberate. The memory of that night, the words I wish I could take back, remained, a constant reminder that love is as much about restraint as it is about passion, as much about understanding as it is about intimacy. I learned a lesson I will never forget. Words once spoken cannot be undone, and their impact can linger far longer than we expect. The insult about his manhood, said in a moment of anger, had nearly destroyed us, but it also forced introspection, accountability, and growth. It revealed vulnerabilities, yes, but it also offered a path to deeper understanding, if we were willing to take it. In the end, our relationship survived, but not without scars. Those scars are reminders of human imperfection, of the consequences of anger, and of the delicate balance required to maintain trust. I carry them with me as lessons about patience, empathy, and the undeniable power of words to wound and heal alike.